Which Five Nights at Freddy's character has the most aura? Y'all see what I did there with the sound? Hold on, wait. Aura. Aura. I'll just start throwing out random sound effects every time I say it. Aura. But what does aura even mean? I'm gonna read the definition off my phone. Throw it up on screen. Someone's aura is their cool factor, swagger, or presence. If a person has high aura, it means they are exceptionally charismatic, confident, and suave. Suave. I don't even know what that means. My name's Khalees. Today we're gonna be talking about aura in Five Nights at Freddy's. What am I gonna do? I'm not gonna do a tier list. I'm gonna go through the first 7 games. So Five Nights at Freddy's 1, 2, 3, 4, Sister Location, Pizzeria Simulator, and then we're gonna finish off with Security Breach. I'm gonna go in each of those games and determine which of those characters has the most aura and which of them has the least amount of aura. Thank you guys for the support lately. I love you guys so much. And I think we're gonna go straight to it. Now, the first game we're gonna be talking about is, of course, the most iconic Five Nights at Freddy's game of all time that started off so many different games. We're talking about Five Nights at Freddy's 1. Represent the shirt, cause this is tough. Shirt cost me $25 at Spencer's. Get it there today. In Five Nights at Freddy's 1, we have 5 characters. There you go. That's all of them. We have the big 3. We have Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, the ones on stage. We have Foxy in Pirates Cove. And then most importantly, we have Golden Freddy. In my opinion, I think Golden Freddy is the most mysterious character in like the first 4 games because there was just so much lore about him that we just did not know. In my honest opinion, in the first game, without a doubt, I would have to say the person with the most aura is Golden Freddy. And if it wasn't Golden Freddy, I would probably say it's Foxy. I just think the fact that Foxy has his own separate stage and he's broken down, he's actually the only character in the game that we see move on the cameras.
That says something.
But you can't really argue with the fact that Golden Freddy has the ability to teleport into your office and straight up. Every other character has their distinct jump scare. They're getting right in your face. Foxy has probably the least scary jump scare in the game. I will say that. But then you have Golden Freddy. So I don't really think it's an argument to say that Golden Freddy does have the most aura in the entire game. But besides that, if we're talking about the least amount of aura in the first game, without a doubt, I'm not trying to be too mean. I have strong opinions about this. I think that Chica has the least amount of aura. Not only do I think she's the least scary animatronic out of everybody, but it's the fact that she's obese. The Cupcake has more aura than Chica does. But one thing I do like about her is her uncanniness. And when she's standing at the door looking at you, that is pretty scary. But yeah, that's the first game. Golden Freddy has to take the cake there. And now we're gonna move on to the second. And by the way, I just wanted to mention, all this shit is unscripted. I'm going off the top of the dome. So I don't want to hear anybody in the comments saying that I'm chopped, ugly, I make terrible videos, and I have no friends. My videos aren't that bad. Moving on to the second game, how many people do we actually have? I don't even know for real. I don't know, it's just hard to say because I don't know if I'm gonna be counting like Shadow Freddy or like Shadow Bonnie. Will that affect my choice? I low-key think it will. So for this one, I'm gonna talk about the character who has the least amount of aura. And I think that we all saw it coming. We all know who it's gonna be. I'm not even gonna say his name. Introduce yourself, man.
Hey, y'all know what's up? What's up?
I told you, bro. He's a goofball. He doesn't even know how to fucking talk. Balloon Boy, he's really, I don't even know. He just looks very slappable, you know? Even in the Five Nights at Freddy's 2 movie, we take his head off. He doesn't attack the player. The way that he kills in Five Nights at Freddy's 2 in the game, he takes your battery. And it's kind of like throwing up an alley-oop from D-Wade to LeBron, except it's Balloon Boy to Foxy. Because he doesn't even do anything. He just stands there and laughs. He's honestly not scary. And it's not even just scariness, it's like a coolness factor as well. He's the type of kid who will like just talk your ear off. You know when you're having a conversation with somebody, you're really trying to walk away, but they keep trying to pull you in with some bullshit. He's like 4'2". Shout out to my short kings, but he's also just stubby. Now, moving on to who has the most amount of aura. There's a lot of options on the table. The one thing I will say is, in my opinion, some of my favorite animatronics in the entire game are the withered animatronics. I will say for sure is that any of these guys right here, they're not having the most aura. Toy Freddy, Toy Bonnie, they're the newest additions to the Find the Phrase location. Toy Chica, she's cool, you know, in her own regard. I'm not gonna elaborate on that, but the aura is just not there. Out of all the toy animatronics, I think that Mangle definitely does have the most aura. Mangle's like been picked apart and there's like open wiring and Mangle has 2 faces. That's pretty cool. I like that. But I don't know. It's a lot of people to choose from. And out of the withered animatronics, the character with the most aura, in my opinion, is probably Withered Bonnie. I just like the fact that Withered Bonnie's like faceplate is off there. And that's just so badass to me. And then we also do have the secret characters. We have Shadow Freddy, Shadow Bonnie, we have Dee Dee. I guess we also do have Endo. The only one of those characters that does come inside of our office and like has any serious effect on us is Shadow Bonnie, because Shadow Bonnie will just crash our game. Dee Dee will just pull up under the desk and not really do anything. The character with the most amount of aura inside of Five Nights at Freddy's 2, I think it has to be Shadow Bonnie. I don't know. Look at this, man. Look. Oh my god. See, any moment now, the whole video is gonna crash. Oh, okay, we're good. Sorry, I don't know what happened there. I think he crashed the game, but I think the fact that we don't even see Shadow Bonnie at all within the entire game, and then there's like a what's the statistic? What are the odds of that? Imagine you're just playing a game, having a good ass run. This dude comes in your room and then he just crashes your game.
That's aura.
I don't know what it is about that. I mean, I love jump scares. I love like seeing the animatronics and all these different people start heading towards your office through the cameras, but having one just teleport, boom, just like that, and you're cooked.
That's pretty cool.
I don't think Shadow Bonnie is in any of the games after, other than like FNAF World. I could be wrong. Let me know in the comments. I will say that Shadow Bonnie has the most amount of aura in the game. So that's Five Nights at Freddy's 2. Now moving on to the third installment. And this one's a bit tricky. By all means, you know, all the characters are not really physical. The only physical character in the entire game is Springtrap. I'm not saying that just because he is the only physical character here, but the character with the most amount of aura in Five Nights at Freddy's 3, without a doubt, and I guarantee that every fan of the Five Nights at Freddy's community, in regards to the third game, will say that Springtrap has the most amount of aura in this game. I think his character design might be top 3 in the entire series. He has grown on me in the past few years. This is the man who caused the whole missing children incident. He is a serial killer inside of a spring lock suit, and he's still moving around and trying to catch a body.
That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT!
You can't really argue with that. We actually do see the ghost children chase him into the animatronic suit and watch him die. Springtrap is the one that
Always come back.
that is aura. You can't tell me that. That is literal aura. He is tough. He is a psychotic aura farmer. I would care to say that Springtrap himself can aura farm just as much as Piccolo from Dragon Ball. Call me crazy. I'm being so serious. He has that shit. And then the character with the least amount of aura in the entire game, I'm trying to think of which of the Phantom animatronics is it. You know what I always found crazy about Five Nights at Freddy's 3? These are all the Phantom animatronics. I think that Freddy is, I could be wrong, he kind of looks like the Freddy from Five Nights at Freddy's 2, like the withered Freddy. Same thing with the Foxy. Always thought it was pretty odd. I feel like Chica doesn't look like she fits in with the rest of everybody. I don't know if every other character is from like Five Nights at Freddy's 2. Foxy kind of looks like withered Foxy. Same thing, Balloon Boy's from Five Nights at Freddy's 2. The Puppets from Five Nights at Freddy's 2. Mango's from Five Nights at Freddy's 2. And then Chica kind of just looks like the Chica from Five Nights at Freddy's 1. I just don't think that she fits in. I'm not a Chica hater. I promise. I love Chica. That Chica specifically. Chica's a great character, but out of all the Phantom animatronics, I would say that Toy Chica has the least amount of aura. I said Balloon Boy had the least amount of aura in Five Nights at Freddy's 2, but in this game, his whole jump scare is one of my favorite jump scares in the entire game. Going from a character who literally just goes into your office, sits there and takes your batteries, to Five Nights at Freddy's 3, he comes out of the camera and jumps at you like the Grudge. That's pretty cool. That's some character development that I love. And then you got Chica's big ass on an arcade machine, and she just like wobbles at you. So the character with most aura, Springtrap with the least amount of aura, Phantom Chica. That's all I have to say. We're pretty much getting to that halfway point in the list. Let me know what you guys think so far. And also, can we try and hit 30 likes on this video? We hit every like goal on the past few videos that I set, so thank you guys so much. And we're also on the road to 4,000 subscribers, which is insane. It's actually insane. So thank you guys so much for the support. But now we are moving on to Five Nights at Freddy's. All right, now the Nightmare animatronics. The Nightmare animatronics are, I don't even know, like the most like thriller animatronics in the entire series. Why is that? Is because we are seeing the animatronics in the eyes of the bite victim of 1983. These are all nightmares because they're actually nightmares. So we have Nightmare, Bonnie, and I'm not gonna list all of them, just throw them on screen. So not only do we have these guys, but we also have these ones over here, which are part of the Halloween update. Now, if we're talking about horror wise, most definitely Five Nights at Freddy's 4, like scariness, definitely at the top of the list out of all the rest of the games. But we're not talking about scariness.
We're talking about aura.
I'm gonna make it a little bit easier on myself. I'm gonna start off with a person with the least amount of aura. I don't think it's without surprise. We're gonna be looking at Plush Trap.
Try.
Plush Trap is just so small, not scary at all. I said it in one of my other videos, I'm pretty sure. He looks like he likes Youngboy. Plush Trap looks like he hasn't taken a shower since 1983, and that's saying something. Like, I think that Withered Chica looks more clean than Plush Trap does. And all of these animatronics look kind of, you know, a little dirty, just a little bit. Moving on, we're gonna be talking about the character with the most amount of aura. So there's a bunch of characters to choose from, but I think I know my answer. You worry about Bonnie, Chica, Freddy, and Foxy, and then you kind of get to like the later night. I believe it's night 5. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
All right, check 1, 2. What's up? All right, it's Khalees. This is me literally 3 days later, and for the next 3 minutes of me talking, I'm dead ass just lying out of my ass. Like, I don't know why I did this. I'm just gonna tell you what. Here's all I'm gonna say. Nightmare has the most aura. Finds a phrase 4. He has a whole dedicated night to him. Argue with a brick wall. I really don't care. Back to it. Most amount of aura. Nightmare. Least amount of aura. This ugly guy. All right, so now we really are past the halfway point in this list. We're talking about sister location. The character with the least amount of aura in sister location, without a doubt, it has to be the Biddy Babs. It was really just a big competition between the Biddy Babs, the Mini Arenas, and maybe Bon Bon, but I mean, look, here's my defense for this, all right? The Mini Arenas, where you had the whole special night where you're stuck in the animatronic suit and you're trying to make sure they don't come in and kill you. I think that is a threat. With Bon Bon, I think a Bon Bon is just cute. I would never put like Helpy, like Cupcake. I wouldn't say that these two don't really have aura, because they're cool. Like, you know, they're cool people, they're like cool, they're fun to be around. But then you got the Biddy Babs, and the Biddy Babs are just look kickable. And the entire game of sister location, the Biddy Babs just kind of seem like a bunch of pests, not really perceived as any threats, and that's kind of just why I put them at the very bottom of not having any aura. And then now we're going to be going to which character has the most amount of aura. So in the Five Nights at Freddy's 2 movie, we didn't see any of the animatronics from sister location except one, and that is Circus Baby. Circus Baby is the biggest animatronic out of the group. I think the only other bigger character than Circus Baby in the entire game is Ennard, which is essentially just a conglomerate of all of those animatronics after the Scooper Room. If you ask me this question like 6 years ago about which of the characters had the most amount of aura in the game, I would most definitely have said that it is Lolbit. The aura was most definitely there. It's been a few years, and I've come to the realization that I think that Lolbit's kind of washed, you know? Lolbit was essentially just an Easter egg, just a reskin of Funtime Foxy, which is a great character, by the way. Which of these characters has the most amount of aura? In my honest opinion, I'm gonna have to give it to Circus Baby. It was either Circus Baby or Funtime Freddy. Funtime Freddy, like, relationship with like Bon Bon and how like they talk to each other is pretty cool. I think I'm just gonna have to give it to Circus Baby just because of the pure size, and actually seeing Circus Baby light up in the Five Nights at Freddy's 2 movie with that scene, that was pretty cool. Makes you realize like how cooked Elizabeth was when she went for that ice cream. There's no way she's surviving that. There's really no competition in my opinion. You could make the argument for Ennard, but I think the whole like Ennard doesn't look put together at all, which, you know, I do understand is the character design, and that just isn't really scary at all in my opinion. That's all I have to say. Character with the most amount of aura, Circus Baby. With the least amount of aura, it's the Biddy Babs. They kind of go hand in hand. I didn't even mean for that to happen, but that's how it goes. Now we're moving on to the beautiful Five Nights at Freddy's 6. Five Nights at Freddy's 6 has so many characters and animatronics in the entire game. I mean, we only really see 5 of them during the nights, and the rest are just, you know, during like the whole like map building layout area. So which of these characters has least amount of aura and the most amount of aura? I'm gonna say for the least amount of aura, I'm gonna give it to the Juice Fountain, which is just a clown thing. It was either the Juice Fountain or one of the mediocre melodies, to be honest. It looks funny, so that's why I put him at the very bottom. And then for the characters with the most amount of aura, without a doubt, in my opinion, I mean, you already know if you've been on the channel for a while, my favorite character in all of Five Nights at Freddy's is Lefty, and I'm gonna have to give Lefty the most amount of aura. Okay, side note, side tangent. The downgrade from Springtrap to Afton's character designs is insane. Okay, so I know like the canon reason why Springtrap looks like Afton is because of the whole burned down building situation, but there is no way that this can turn into this because of some fire. He just does not look scary at all. All right, side tangent over. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to give it to Lefty, because then you also have the argument for like, you know, Molten Freddy and Scrap Baby, which they look very scary, you know, like they look sick, honestly, but they don't look like they belong with the rest of everybody else. When you're doing all the salvage mini games, you see Afton, you see Scrap Baby, you see Molten Freddy, you see they look like very beat up, and then you see Lefty, and Lefty just looks so clean. There's something inside of Lefty that wants to come out. and when it comes out, we're cooked. Lefty has the most amount of aura. That stupid ass clown has the least amount of aura. All right, and then for the final game that we're gonna be talking about, we're gonna be moving on to Find a Freddy Security Breach. Because I don't know, and every time I talk about Find a Freddy's games, everyone tells me to bring up Security Breach, and I haven't really fully played throughout the entire game. I've only seen one playthrough of it, which is like the part 1 that Corey Kenshin did a long time ago. So I can't really speak too much on the lore of these characters, but here's one thing I will say. The character with the most amount of aura in Security Breach is the Montgomery Gator.
Correct!
I don't know canonically how much weight he can lift, but he is most definitely the strongest character physically out of all the characters inside Security Breach. He plays a guitar and he has shades. No other character in all of Five Nights at Freddy's has some glasses on, and this guy, he just puts them on. And he rocks that shit too. And then the character with the least amount of aura, in my opinion, is gonna be Glamrock Chica. When she moves around, she knows she's just a little bit of like a, she just moves around like a crackhead. I don't know about y'all, but I think that a crackhead on the street doesn't really have that much aura, and Glamrock Chica is kind of giving me some crackhead vibes. And which one has the most amount of aura out of all those games, in my opinion? So we have Golden Freddy, Shadow Bonnie, Springtrap, Nightmare, Circus Baby, Lefty, and Montgomery Gator. Out of all these characters, who do I think has the most amount of aura? I'm gonna put my biases aside. If I was talking about my favorite character, we already know that I would put Lefty there. But out of all of these characters right here, without a doubt, argue with the wall, in my opinion, and everybody's opinion, the character with the most amount of aura in all of Five Nights at Freddy's has to be Springtrap. He is the man who caused damn near everything in the whole universe, and you're telling me that he does not have the most amount of aura in the entire series? You're smoking crack. There's no argument against that. Springtrap has the most amount of aura in all of Five Nights at Freddy's. Argue with the wall, throw it in the comments, email me, do all of that. I'm telling you, I'm right and you're wrong. But that's been the video, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. I wanted to rant again. I do love ranting for you guys. So leave a comment down below. Let's hit 4,000 subscribers. And I don't know what else to say. Thank you guys. I love you guys so much. Follow me on Instagram. 30 likes. My name's Kalist. Don't forget it. I'll catch y'all later. Peace.